so you, baby, baby, baby. I've been on my empty mind, shit. I should've came from losing resume.
Afternoon, tribe, and welcome. For those of you, if it's your first time, our Wednesdays are all about inspiration. It's hump day. We might be doing good, we might be feeling a little burned out, but we're going to check in with each other to give us the endurance and the strength and the clarity to continue to get through the rest of the week and finish off strong as we started, is my hope for you. So today is Sunday for me, but you all will be seeing this on Wednesday. So before I go any further, please, y'all know how we do around here. We like, we comment, and we subscribe. That's how we roll around here. So I thank you in advance for those who have already done it, and I thank you. Matter of fact, I'll wait for you all who haven't. While y'all check out my straight hair. Got it? Done? Finished? All right. Now we can proceed. As you can see from the title, this week's inspiration I'm gearing towards my parents, but us children can benefit from it as well. I've been having some clients coming my way, and my husband as well. For those of you that's been following me from day one, know my husband is a life coach, has a non-for-profit, amongst other things. One thing my husband and I share is all about giving you the resources and the tools to live your best authentic life, whatever you define that is. And one thing that I've been noticing in my own work, and I will have a transparent moment and say, I've even experienced as a parent, and I've been on the receiving end as a child. And one thing that I think parents struggle with is letting our children know we mess up too. You know, when our children are small, what's the favorite thing they like to say when somebody's saying something to them? My mama said, my daddy said. If you say anything in opposition to what mommy and daddy said, the kids ain't hearing, because mommy and daddy and what they say are law. Law. No questions asked, just law. Well, you know, when they get pre-adolescence, not so much that they don't believe what you say, but they think they know more than they know, right? So you start to get some of that little pushback, that typical teenage stuff. And now when we're kind of getting towards the end of the teenage years, we're at the end of high school, we're getting ready to really spread our wings if we've chosen to go on to college or just go off on our own. And this is where we really start to question some stuff, or things don't seem right, or perhaps you've had enough life experience to say, hey, when I become a parent, I may want to do this different than my own, or maybe there's some things you wish you experienced a little bit different in the relationships with your own parents or those that were your caregivers. And what I find is parents struggle sometimes to admit fault, admit failure, admit that there are some aspects of their child rearing or their parenting that perhaps they wish they could have done differently. And it is hard, in my experience, no offense to anyone, for parents to let the kids know, I messed up. I could have did better. Or maybe, you know, for whatever the reasons are, I just chose to make a different decision, even in that moment if I know I wasn't the best one. And instead of, when children bring those particular situations to you or ask you why you moved or said or did what you did, parents oftentimes shut down. We go in defense mode. We feel like our parenting is being challenged. How dare you? You're my child. You don't question me. I'm the parent. You know how that goes. And I think we need to get to the root of that and why that is. So the reason I decided to make this the Wednesday inspiration, we are coming to the end of our first quarter of the year. At this time, people are, you know, if you're on track for whatever your resolution, your New Year's resolutions have been, or by now you probably have fell off the wagon for some of us. I apologize. I'm sitting in my living room and a car is going by. I apologize for that. Parents, one thing, regardless of our culture, our beliefs, we have taught our children. We admit when we're wrong, we take accountability, and we say sorry when these have taken place. Whether our behavior has been intentional or not, but if the outcome was something we need to apologize for, we need to do that. Yet when it comes to our own children, we seem to kind of stumble with that, and we need to get to the root of why that is. Again, is it because you feel your parenting is being questioned? Do you feel it makes you look like you failed as a parent? Is it, in your eyes, disrespectful for your child to come and ask you why certain things were done or said or certain decisions were made? But this is the thing. How can we teach our children? And we all know we are the first example that our children have, from affection to love to relationships to communication to the dynamics of a household. We are the first experience and role models that our children have. With that being said, if we teach our children the importance of saying sorry, why do we not role model that when it comes to them? If we teach our children the importance of accountability, why do we get defensive as opposed to listening, taking accountability if need be, but at least taking the time to have a conversation? Because see, what happens is when we push our kids away and we tell them it's not important, that cycle continues onto their children. So many times we hear we want to break generational curses and generational mishaps or whatever. It all starts with communicating, getting an understanding of how we got here, what can we do to get out of here, and that means some apologizing, some accountability, communication. All that has to take place. Parents, it does not take away your parenting. Some of us did not know how to parent, depending on what our childhood and life story was. Some of us were young parents and kind of still being raised while we were trying to raise somebody. Some of us just had some traumas and some things we had to work on getting over, until this day may still be doing that. Some of us just wasn't ready to be a parent. It ended up being a little bit more than we anticipated. Whatever the reasons are, it don't matter. It don't matter, because that has come and gone now. Now we're trying to deal with some things that might need some clarity or some explaining. And let me say this to you. So oftentimes when I look at some of the hardships that parents and children are having, it's not that they can't get past it. It's just that if one is questioning the other, defense mechanisms and defense mode comes into place, and the shutdown is the goal, not the communication and the transparency, because we don't want to be judged, we don't want to be questioned, we don't want to be told we didn't do something right. But this is the thing, parents, it's all right, because what will make your children see, you're human. You're human. And our children cannot expect us to be perfect, although when they're young they think we're God sometimes. But it's important to let your children know, I am woman, I am man, I am perfectly imperfect. And especially for those older children, you're our first time at the rodeo. You're our first one out the gate. We're learning as we go, and we may have a blueprint, but we're learning as we're going. My children's experience is much different than mine. I didn't have social media and all of this stuff like they had. These children are maturing faster. Their tech savviness is on a whole nother level than ours was. And, so it's exposing them to more. The maturity is not keeping up with the exposure. So now we got some issues taking place. Parents, let your children know, and if anything, it's going to make them respect you. And you know what I have learned, and I'm having this conversation because I have had to do this with my children. Hey, let me talk to you. When you came and you asked me a question a couple days ago, and I just kind of told you I didn't want to talk about it, or now wasn't the time, or I get back to you, or whatever my shutdown reasoning was. In that moment, I want to talk to you about that. And I could see your perspective on why you feel that way. But let me explain to you where mommy was, or where my head was, or what my experience was that led me to that moment. You got to remember, your children don't know your background unless you tell them. Your children don't know your hurt and pain unless you tell them. Your children know you as mommy or daddy. They don't see you as man and woman or just another adult. So their expectations and their perspective of you is much different than Miss Jones next door or whoever. Sit your children down. Apologize for what you need to apologize for. Show them you're not perfect. It doesn't take away from you. It doesn't diminish your parenting. It doesn't highlight your failures or your mishaps. It shows your children that you are human. You're going to make mistakes. And this is the thing, if you can take accountability for yours, and you can ask for forgiveness and saying, I just didn't know no better. You know better. You do better when you know better. It will, one, make your children more comfortable in coming because it's a conversation, not World War III. But then you also have to ask yourself, why are your children asking that particular question about why you did what you did or said what you did, which means it's lingering on them for some reason. Whether they were hurt, they're just genuinely confused, maybe it's something that they didn't like, whatever it is, but it is a reason a child brings a particular question, subject matter, topic, whatever to you. So when you go through the go-throughs with them, now figure out why they're asking that. Make sure it's no feelings or background stuff going on that maybe they could use your assistance with getting through or understanding. Parents, we are not perfect. Let's not pretend what we are. But what we are is human. What we are is human, which means we are imperfect. We're going to drop the ball sometimes. We are going to succeed at times, and that includes our parenting. It is okay to let your children know you're human. It's okay to let your children know, man, I messed up. I really wish I did that differently. But at the time I thought or I believed, at the time my experience was, at the time maybe mommy was healing from some stuff, and I'm in a different place now, and if I could do it all over again, I would. But I appreciate you to bringing it to me so I can help you through whatever I allowed you to experience being in the driver's seat at the time. Then say, remember this moment. So if you choose to become a parent, remember what you felt so you can handle it different with yours. But they're also going to remember the moment that your relationship elevated to a different level, that, man, I could really go and talk to mommy, daddy. Man, they didn't yell and scream like I thought they were. It was actually pretty cool. Then they start thinking about some other things to bring up to you. Because as we know, as children get older, our position, our role changes. We're always going to be mommy and daddy. But they may not come to us in the same way. They're going to be strategic with what they tell us, what they're going through. One of the biggest reasons people don't communicate or children don't come to their parents is they're going to feel like they're, one, going to get in trouble, two, parents don't understand, three, the parents are not going to listen, and four, they're going to be judged. Those are usually what's taking place. And then lastly, if they have attempted time and time again and it's never successful, then number 5 is going to be they never listen. So what's the point? They never listen. Then they go into shutdown, and then they start looking outside of you for guidance, advice, a shoulder, an ear. And we would hope they would pick someone who would have their best interests at heart, but we know sometimes that ends up being the streets. It ends up being a family member you don't particularly care for it to be. It may be an older friend who don't really have that much more experience than the child themselves. Any parent, I would imagine, would rather their child come to them. But parents, we have to set the foundation for our children to feel safe coming to us. And part of that is putting down our cape, hanging it up on the wall, and letting our children see that we are human, that there is a woman and a man that stands behind the title of mommy and daddy, that is still living life and learning life and going through life themselves. As our children become older, we want to get closer. You know, I don't come from the school of, you know, I'm your friend. But I want to be your confidant. I do want to be your supporter. I do want to be a resource for you. I do want you to feel I could pick up the phone and be transparent without being judged. Now, don't mean I'm going to sit up here and tell you lies that, oh, okay, yeah, I could see why you do that. No, I'm going to let you know, I'm not quite understanding why you would do that. I'm going to be respectfully non-judgmental and honest. So parents, we don't have to act perfect. We don't have to pretend, because that's what we're doing, because we're not. We're not. It's okay to say, baby, Mama's sorry. You know, when I was a little girl, this happened and that happened. I can remember feeling how you're feeling now, and I said I was never going to do that, and you know, I'm just going through my day, going through my thing, and I didn't even realize what had taken place. But I appreciate you coming to me. Let your children know you appreciate them. Let them know you're listening. Let them know I'm going to be honest with you, but it don't have to be in a judgmental, disrespectful, put you down type of way. But I'm going to let you know if you're fucked up, though. And I want you to be able to come to me and say, hey, Ma, you got a minute? You know, when we were talking a couple days ago and you said that, you know, it just made me feel like blah, 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 blah. And don't be like, boy, get out my face with that. Because he will get out your face and he probably won't come back. And then that's where the attention goes elsewhere, to look for that attention and look for that shoulder and all of that. Sit down with your children. See, I'm old school. I still believe in having dinner at the table together. That's our time that we check in. Put the phones down. Let's talk. Just go into your kids' room, one by one, and just say, hey, so how was your day? What's going on with you? They will be shocked as hell that you're doing it, but they're going to appreciate you. That you hit the pause button on your busy life to come check in with them and see how they're doing. And you will start to notice they're looking forward to it. They may even start initiating it sometimes. And they are going, when they get comfortable, are going to start bringing some subject matters to you. But you are going to be the one that determines how comfortable they are, if the foundation is set for them to do so. Because it's a beautiful thing when you can feel your child is comfortable with you. Now, children are not going to bring everything. We all know that. But for the things that's weighing heavy on them and really on their mind, you want them to be able to come. The decisions that they're making that could be life-changing for them, you want to be a part of that. But parents, we can't walk around like we are the end-all, be-all, and we are perfect, and it's what I say, not what I do. Oh, I hate it when I used to hear that. It was so contradictory to me. But then you would turn around and hear actions speak louder than words. But listen to what you do, listen to what you say, not what you do. 1 + 1 was not equaling 2 to me. So in a world that we're in today where suicide is at its highest, depression and mental illness is at its peak, people are just looking for love and acceptance and feeling safe. Parents, let that be what your children feel with you. You don't have to pretend to be perfect. You don't even have to pretend to know it all. You don't even have to pretend to necessarily understand what your children are going through, because your journey may not have been theirs. Doesn't mean you can't support, you can't understand, you can't hold their hand. Yes, it's going to be challenging at times. You may hear some things you don't want to hear. But one thing I can say, I have enjoyed the transition as my daughters, my older daughters, are entering into womanhood, and wanting them to know mommy is always here. Even though my role may change, where I may not be the dictator anymore, but I'm now kind of on the sidelines watching what you're doing and decisions you're making, because now you are responsible for your own life. But I want them to know, even when it's a hard topic, a sensitive topic, I can come to my mom. She's going to be honest, but it doesn't have to be brutally honest. And at the end, she's going to help me figure this out. And I'm not alone. Parents, let your babies know you love them. Let them know you are here. Let them know you are as they are, imperfectly imperfect. Wrap your arms around them. Let them know, hey, even if you can't speak it, write it down. Slide it to me. We could be old school. You slide it, I slide it. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get it out. Let them know you love them. Let them know you're there. Let them know that you're not going to, enable their craziness, but you will encourage their greatness. So I hope this was a little encouraging for some parents who may be in a position of trying to figure out how to get out that funk that they might be experiencing with their children. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but if you are consistent and persistent in loving them and opening up the doors of communication without feeling the need to control the topics and how that communication looks, I feel strongly that you're going to get some great results from that. As always, I love you. Please comment. I would love to get to continue to know you all. Throw some questions out there. Let's talk about it. Let's encourage each other in the comment section. As much as you all are comfortable with sharing about your personal lives, let each other know we are not going through this alone. Parenting is one of the most sacrificial blessings you will ever experience, but it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But of course, you're going to have some challenging moments along the way as these little beautiful creatures that we brought into the world start to spread their wings and, go through their own little go-throughs. But tribe, this is all what we're about. We're about loving one another, respecting one another, but more importantly, encouraging one another, that each day can be what we want it to be, and you have a tribe behind you to see you through. So until we meet again, tribe, you know how I do. I got nothing but love for you. And it ain't a damn thing you can do about it.